I may just be a tad late to this information, but I did want to get my thoughts. So Netflix, 13 million, they pulled in 13 million new subscribers. They've inked in this 10-year deal worth $5 billion with the WWE. And Netflix further solidified the status as king of streaming with an impressive quarter four performance in which it added 13 million new subscribers. That's a lot, okay? And let's say we believe we've successfully addressed account sharing, ensuring that when people enjoy Netflix, they pay for the service too. We knew they were cracking down on this, and I know people weren't the biggest fans of some of the direction that they were going in, but it's hard to argue the results when the results come in, okay? So we know this big deal right here, which is interesting. Netflix, they scored a major win. It announced on Tuesday that it inked a 10-year, $5 billion deal for WWE Raw. I think that sets in 2025. Says that deal puts Netflix firmly in the live event and sports space and an area it has been exploring, but it's not all the way dove into, of course. So this is interesting, right? Whether you find it good or bad, I mean, that's your opinion, right? Whatever, however you choose to watch. I think this is kind of unique to Raw. I need people to understand that Netflix, even though they had that window where they were struggling for a little bit, Netflix, as it stands right now, to my knowledge of the big ones at least, is the only profitable streaming service. Now, you can argue maybe it's because they're the kind of the first in, best dressed. But all these other companies have tried it. We reported on Disney losing just crazy amounts of money each quarter. Like it's going out of style. They lose so much money, man, on streaming, and they have. These other guys aren't making it work. So you can't even call it a loss leader because what else are they translating to sales, right? Nothing out of this. This is really just them losing all sorts of money, and they're trying to figure it out. It's one of those things that the industry tried to adjust to, and that was the whole digital aspect, and it's just not working for a lot of them. They still have some things to figure out. A lot of that has to do with how much they spend on some of these products, but it is what it is. Does entering into this arena, will that separate them from the pack? Because they figured, as this article acknowledged, without really diving into the whole live sports event, they have been able to make they've been able to make this thing a profitable venture. So now it's like one of those, well, we're going to separate with WWE, we're separating them from the pack. How many subscribers is that going to add? Well, we talked about this 13 million or whatever that number is. Is that going to be sustainable? What that interest is going to be versus how much they spent to get the rights versus, I don't know. It's hard to say. What I can say is that Netflix ain't playing around. And it's putting the rest of the industry on notice, who is right now scrambling, trying to figure out how to make streaming a profitable venture. If the streaming services were to go away or some of them were to combine, it does look like the last standing is for sure going to be Netflix. Now, as far as the profitability of streaming, me personally, I do feel like there's still money in that. That exclusivity aspect, that's the interesting part, because Netflix didn't build it necessarily on just that. They were taking a lot of old material, putting it on there, on the Netflix, and you know, they made that pop. And there's some new stuff. Obviously, these big shows that they have, Netflix exclusive shows, they've been able to knock it out the park with some of those. Laid some duds here, but that's the point, right? You have such a big catalog that no matter who gets in, there's something for you. Just subscribe. It's all going to the same pot, unless you're talking residuals and stuff. It's all going to the same pot according to them. So what's interesting to me is watching these corporate entities with massive amounts of money lose massive amounts of money, and there's no other side. Because what does that look like? Let's say they end streaming. Still, what does that look like? Because it's not like the whole cable news thing is going back to old. No, that's not going to happen. They got some problems. Let's just say that. And I think Netflix and them kind of cementing themselves as the head honcho on this corner of the entertainment industry, That's intriguing for the rest of those guys because they just can't stop bleeding money.